So, whatever happened to Hiei's desire to raise an army? Why did it just vanish? Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today, I'm going to indulge myself and talk about a classic old anime, Yu Yu Hakusho, that you might know is getting a live-action adaptation very soon. There will be mild spoilers for the anime, but it's been decades, get over it. There will possibly be spoilers for the live-action show releasing on December 14th. I hope there will be. That is, I am hoping they stick true to Hiei's motivations and backstory, but regardless, you have been warned. In order to give you some time to click away, I'm going to give you a moment by telling you that my book, Humans Are Weird, We Took a Vote, is finally available on audiobook format and is up on Barnes & Noble, Kobo Rakuten, so Walmart, Google Play Books, and audiobooks.com. Get yourself a copy if you want to hear my less than professional reading skills and an awesome story. Now, I was wandering the icy wastes of the internet when I came across the question. When we first meet the fire elemental yokai Hiei, he is attempting to raise an army of what are essentially zombies. He has stolen a sword that allows him to turn any human into his zombie slave with one non-fatal blow, making the process reversible, which is a good thing for our plucky love interest. To summarize, despite the fact that Hiei can transform to power up, the shonen protagonist first beats the ever-loving snot out of him with the power of high-energy beam weapons, basic 4th grade science, and a little help from his friends. Classic shonen all around. Then in the next arc, they are forced into an alliance where the protagonist gives Hiei a chance, they bond, and the story moves on with Hiei as an important recurring secondary character, easily reaching the status of Deuteragonist. Thing is, Hiei's goal of raising an army never once comes up again, and is never explained on screen. And some internet folks are wondering about that. While it is never directly addressed, I think the reasons are pretty clear by the end of the series. Getting into serious spoilers for his #tragic backstory, Hiei was born into a very close-knit culture, whose members literally never leave their icy home. He was born as a fire elemental in a small village of ice elementals, who generally reproduced by Parthenogenesis, i.e., all of these ice elementals were female, and in order to make babies, they just split off what amounts to a clone of themselves once every 100 years when they enter their reproductive cycle. However, they are not limited to this method of reproduction. If one of these ice maidens meets a male of a compatible species in the narrow window of time where she is reproducing, she can actually reproduce sexually and produce a male child. This is usually a twin situation with one female ice maiden and one male child. This is what happened in Hiei's case, producing a fire elemental. However, this process of producing a male child kills the ice maiden because their body just can't take the strain, either whether it's of twins or of hosting that genetics that different from their own. Now, having your mother die in childbirth as a result of pregnancy complications would have been plenty traumatic enough, but the insular ice maidens consider Hiei a threat as a fire elemental, possibly with good reason, and literally tossed him over a cliff. Interestingly enough, this reproductive dynamic that we see here is not without precedent in the real world. There are several species, the most notable being the California condor, that can produce both sexually and by parthenogenesis. Most simply produce females, like various sharks and lizards, but the California condor, having reverse genetics from a mammal, actually produces males by this process. But back to the main question. Why I was trying to raise an army, and why he never did again. After getting yeeted out of his home village, he was found and raised by bandits, became a professional thief, formed an alliance with Kurama the Fox yokai and a random ogre, and stumbled his way into a shonen plot. I think the answer to this main question lies in his genetics and can be explained by the behavior of the Ice Maiden culture. Yes, they are insular and rejected him, but judging from the behavior of that genetic stock, those elemental types desperately need companionship and community. This is very traditionally obvious in his sister Yukina, Anyway, who bonds to literally anyone and anything who offers her a smile. She needs to be with people to the point that the worst torture her captors could inflict on her when she gets captured was to completely isolate her from all possible companionship. With Hiei, who was forced to survive on his own essentially from birth, and who was naturally angry with the world about that, it's less obvious. But from the get-go, his behavior is entirely consistent if you look at it as someone who has a deep genetic craving for companionship and community, who, however, has no idea how to satisfy that craving in a healthy way. So yes, Hiei tried to raise an army of slaves who couldn't turn on him or leave him. He did this in the context of his very strange alliance with a random ogre who eats children and a random thief. Yes, it was an alliance of convenience to steal the MacGuffins of the day, but Hiei was also pretty ticked off when Kurama abandoned them, and he just straight up ranted with rage. He went on a villainous monologue about how he totally didn't need friends when he was left on his own after the ogre got taken down. Then, given half a chance, Hiei jumped at the opportunity to work with Team Yusuke, which, yes, did earn him his freedom, a strong motivating factor, but the mission to retrieve the mind control flute also gave him a prime situation to ditch them and run to his freedom, which he passes up on. And then, once having chosen this plucky little friend group, Hiei is then true to them for the rest of the series, intensely loyal even. In his maturation arc, the story only takes him away from them, really, when he finds a community, a family of his own, just like the other characters. A big theme of this show is maturing and leaving those childhood friend groups to start your own. And even after that, Hiei is still willing to show up and throw down for his friends, even after he's shouldered these adult responsibilities. In flashbacks that show his time before the series, we see that he was also consistently throughout his life clinging to his relationship with his sister as much as her guardians would allow him to. So, in my view, it makes perfect sense that Hiei was trying to raise an army at the beginning of the show, but never tried again. Raising an army of slaves was the most logical form for his warped and abused need for friends and family could take in the toxic emotional environment he lived in then. Then he got forcibly adopted by shonen protagonists, and his life improved enough that he never needed to force the connection again. The green monster form he assumed in that first fight, a symbol of his attempt at independence from his own need for community, wouldn't even have been necessary as he had friends to watch his back and a support structure that allowed him to advance in more technical directions of self-improvement, like summoning the fire dragon, something he didn't have the time or energy to master before finding his little community of plucky delinquents and weirdos. So, like with most shonen, the real secret was friendship all along. But what do you think, my wonderful viewers? Was there another reason that Hiei never raised another army? Tell me your theories in the comments below. I delight in hearing other people's rambles on these things. Hit that like and subscribe button, and peace out, my wonderful viewers. Humans Are Weird, we took a vote. The second book of Human Absurdity is now available in audiobook format. Everywhere where audiobooks are sold, Barnes & Noble, Google Play, Kobo by Rakuten, and of course, Audible and Amazon. So you can now get a copy of the audiobook format of all 70,000 words of Human Absurdity.